0864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
It is opening day for Oregon baseball. The Ducks getting in action in just a little while here this afternoon. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, it is a 3 o'clock first pitch for the Ducks hosting Xavier. Oregon is, I think, very excited about this season. A lot of offense, and it's the veteran in Logan Mercado who's going to get the start today. I got to tell a little inside baseball story, okay? So I'm just over at PK Park this morning, getting everything set up, and I was, pushing pins into my roster that lives in the broadcast booth. First day is always like a great day for broadcaster because you set the booth up and you kind of have that zen moment of like, okay, this is how we're going to go this year. Well, who walks into the broadcast booth but today's starting pitcher, Logan Mercado? And he just says, and I said, so what, is this part of the pregame routine? He goes, well, starting pitcher today, it's kind of the vibe. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, this is the best view, so I just like to get a little bit of work done, get ready for the game. I sit up in the press box when I'm the starting pitcher. Logan Mercado gets the ball today. And I just thought, wow, that's nice, It's a departure maybe a bit from when Cole Irvin was wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat to the ballpark on days that he was the starting pitcher. Everybody's got their thing, Oregon baseball opening day today. Women's basketball in action coming up this evening. The Ducks at 7 o'clock in Pullman. It's a 6:30 pregame show with Terry Johns. I'm looking forward to it. The Ducks, look, they need a bounce back. They're heading toward the bubble. Comfortably, their resume would tell you inside the tournament, but heading toward the bubble. And they're on a skid right now. Getting a win at Washington State may just be the medicine. And similarly, getting a win at Washington State might be the medicine for Oregon men's basketball. The Ducks coming off that gutting loss to Washington. They're still on the bubble, but that margin's razor thin if it's a margin at all. Ducks need to win some games, and it starts 4 o'clock on Sunday for the Oregon men in Pullman. All right, so we got Kelly Graves, we got Chance Gray, we got a little bit of women's basketball preview there. Men's basketball on the horizon as well. Oregon baseball, Mark Wasikowski meeting with the media earlier this week, Colby Shade as well. And men's tennis against Washington tonight. 5 o'clock at the Student Tennis Center. The Harley will be in attendance. Nobody is happier than head coach Nils Schelander. Nobody. Oh, man, this is going to be fun. The Ducks and the Huskies tonight at the Student Tennis Center. Now, we start today's show, though, before we hear from Kelly Graves, with the other diamond sport that is in its second weekend, Oregon softball. They're in game 2 right now of 2 games on this Friday afternoon, morning. But this morning, a no-hitter for Stevie Hansen in a 9-0 win for Duck softball. They had 11 hits as well. 1 error. It's a no-hitter for Stevie Hansen. Our buddy Ryan Milano, OSN broadcast intern extraordinaire, also the sports director at KWVA. He's down in San Diego, and he had the call for the culmination of a great game this morning for Duck softball. Ryan Milano from KWVA.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out to Wong. Wong, fly ball, center field, going back, and it clears the wall. A walk-off 2-run home run for Valerie Wong, and the Ducks win 9-0. And oh yeah, it's a no-hitter for Stevie Hansen.
How about that? Nice call by our buddy Ryan Milano. You heard him hosting the show last week. Ryan nailed that. I mean, how often in your career do you get a walk-off home run because of the run rule in softball and also a no-hitter, right? So for me, like, I remember I had a couple of those where Jess Moore or Sheridan Hawkins had a no-no going, and then the Ducks would score in walk-off fashion with the run rule in softball, and next thing you know, it's like, hey, Ducks win and no-hitter. You know, it's awesome. Congratulations to Stevie Hansen. Look, you don't get a lot of those in your career. One, as a broadcaster, selfishly, but then two, as a pitcher. And how about that from Stevie Hansen? What a response. Because remember, last week, it didn't go the way she wanted. Didn't get out of the first inning in her first start of the season. Now, goes and throws a no-hitter. That's awesome. Great work by Oregon softball, and they're in Game 2 right now if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Let's talk a little women's basketball. The Ducks, they need a win. And Washington State's a good squad. As Kelly Graves will tell you, televised on Pac-12 Oregon tonight. And, of course, Terry Johns with that 6:30 pregame show. Getting into some women's basketball preview before tonight's big game with Kelly Graves. The Oregon women's head coach met with the media this week.
How much of a challenge or not is that, and how important is that for this group?
Well, it's always a little bit more difficult, when you haven't had, the success that you've wanted to get yourself back up. But we've still got a lot to play for, We still control our own destiny. I still feel if we can get a couple more wins that I think we're going to be in a position to reach our postseason goals. But, that's why I think Friday becomes such an important game. Hopefully, I think for a good portion of the practice today, we showed some pretty good energy.
You probably didn't expect to be in a situation where you're kind of on the bubble with a couple weeks left in the regular season. Do you use that now as like a carrot?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, these are must wins. I mean, we can't go up and play tight or play with pressure, but it's a great opportunity. We know what we're capable of doing now. We just got to go out and do it. We've got to see a victory. They've been tough to come by recently. So, but I still believe that we can go up and win a couple in the Washingtons. No question about it.
At the risk of a broad overgeneralization, if that shot by Elise at the end of regulation against Washington State goes in, is it potentially the last few weeks dramatically different?
Well, you never know. That's the great thing about sports and the tough thing about sports. You just don't know if a play here or play there would have turned the tide for the rest of the season. I just don't know. That was obviously a big play. I was told by the conference that it was the right call, even though we didn't agree with it. And it's one of those I wish they would have just let play out, but that's not the case. But yeah, who knows? And I think in all of sports you can say that. It's just sometimes a play here and a play there that can make a difference, not just for that game, but maybe for a little momentum after. So we'll see. We got to make our own momentum though Friday.
Coach every team differently, obviously, but are there moments in your career where you could kind of lean on of maybe losing streaks similar that you point to and think about what worked to get you out of it, or does that apply? Yeah, it's been a while, I think, since I personally have been in this position. Actually in 2016-17, I think we were kind of up and down. And actually going into the conference tournament, we lost our last two at home going into that, but we somehow, found a way to kind of get back up and play with a little bit of enthusiasm, win a couple in the conference tournament, including the big one against Kelsey Plum-led Washington. That got us into the field. This is similar to that in that we've kind of just been real inconsistent in conference play. We've been close. We haven't been able to pull some out. We haven't gotten that rhythm that we really need. And I think if we do and we can win a couple down the stretch, I think we're going to be one of those teams in either the conference tournament or the NCAA tournament, if we're fortunate enough to get there, that people don't want to play. Because we've obviously, with our numbers, have shown that we play pretty good basketball and we're playing everybody close. We just haven't been able to finish it. So if we can finish a few down the stretch, that gives us some confidence going into postseason.
Taheen is obviously struggling to get her shots to fall. Yeah. Is she finding other ways to contribute for you?
Yeah, Taheen is, we all see the struggles on the court.
we feel for, but she's doing all the right things, man. She's leading, she's talking, she's defending well. And I've talked to her a few times. I don't think she's letting it get her down. I've encouraged all our team to just kind of stay off the social media, quit listening to people, and just kind of, stay focused on what they're trying to do. So I really applaud Tahina. She knows no one feels worse than she does, but she's still trying to lead, and our players are looking for her to lead, and I think she's done a great job in that area. The other will come. We've seen her do it enough here. I still believe that she's going to have an ability and an opportunity to really make a huge impact on the court down the stretch.
This week in practice, when you're going to, trying to make a big shift or a big push, just what are some things that you're looking for from the girls in order to make that shift?
Yeah, we got to make those little plays that win games. Make the stop when we need, get that rebound when we need. I think our rebounding has just got to get better. Get the shot that we want at the right time by the right person, just all those little things that we're just not quite there on yet, but time's running out. So that's all I want. I just want to see us continue to compete, just play hard, just do what we can and control what we can.
Knowing that it's just some of those small things, do you feel like those are more like mental things that your team has to practice, or physical things that maybe help the mental? Like, how has it been?
See, all of the above: mental, physical. We're making mistakes all over the board, and we're also doing some good things. We can't poo-poo some of the things that we've been doing well to keep us in games. Down UCLA, a really good team on their home floor, 2:55 to go. It's a tie score. It can be anybody's game, and it seems like we're in that similar position all the time. We've just got to, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, perhaps could even help, be able to make the winning plays.
And I know you talked about just how your coaching staff has, struggled to just find answers and find out something that's going to work. Have you guys found out anything, changed anything about the way you approach practices or games that has been helping at all?
Yeah, you always have to go with the feel for where the team's at, what we're doing. That's like today. I just felt we needed a little bit of levity. Is that the word you use? So we played a quick game of kickball, just something to, kind of break us out of this. I think, we feel so much pressure. We've had so much success here, and I think our players sometimes feel pressure. And so when we lose, it almost feels like 2 losses because we're not used to doing that. And so I think sometimes we feel that pressure. So yeah, as coaches, we've got to find different ways to keep ourselves motivated, keep ourselves focused, keep ourselves, planning, for that next game. So if that takes a quick game of kickball, which by the way, the staff won, including one Chris Brown over there. He got a ground rule double.
RBI double.
Yeah, RBI double. Yeah. So it was fun. Listen, I love this group, and they continue to have really good attitudes, and they're working hard, and we're all trying. That's the thing. We're all trying.
We talked to Chance about her not really going through any losing streaks like this. I know a lot of the players on this team haven't. Do you feel like that unfamiliarity with that situation has altered the losing streak a little bit?
Yeah, I don't totally understand the question, but yeah, I think this is new for a lot of us, and so we're just trying to figure it out, trying to navigate, through it. And all you can do is control what you can control, and all we can focus on is Friday's game. We go up and get a win on Friday, we're going to feel so much better about Sunday. And then, if you can get that done, then you feel great about the final weekend, and you just start to build a little momentum. That's what we need. We just haven't had that great feeling to kind of get us up and over the hump. And hopefully that happens this week.
Speaking of Friday, let's talk a little bit about the Cougars. Yeah. Charlize is back. She's been in and out of the country, it seems like, and their success seems to be almost tied to whether or not she's been available. What have you seen from this team now with her back in the fold again?
Well, first of all, I think Cameron Etheridge does a great job. She's an awesome coach. I think they play to their potential and play to their strengths better than any team in the conference. They know who they are. Their players know their roles. They execute their roles as well as anybody, and they're really difficult to beat. I mean, now we had good success. We went up there last year and played one of our best games we've ever played. So, anything can happen, but I just think, the Cougars do a great job, and they have an inside player that can match up with Philly. Obviously, Charlize is a great playmaker and a great player, one of the best in the conference. I'd put her in the top 3 players in the conference, and so, anytime she is on there, it's going to make them a lot tougher. But then, they just execute. They defend. They do all the little things that, they make the winning plays. So it's going to be a really good game. I anticipate both teams are hungry. Neither of us are in the field for sure. And I think both of us could use a real quality win at this point.
Back to Rob's question just about that shot from Elise and all of that. Do you think did that have a lingering effect at all of it kind of sticking in people's heads? If that was a game that we could have had that, I just wonder now through the lens of some time, what you think about that.
Yeah, obviously a big play, a turning point. The standings would look a lot different. Maybe it would have helped us, get another couple wins. But I'm of the belief that it never comes down to one play. That one play could have been in the third quarter, in the second quarter, the first quarter. You can't put yourselves into those kind of positions late. And we didn't make enough plays in that game to separate at any point. So that's the unfortunate part.
I thought that was really well said by Coach Graves. It's interesting. So Coach Altman said this actually to the team after the loss at Washington, to make some parallels here, that in a 1-point loss, every play gets magnified. Everything goes under the microscope, and you're trying to go, okay, that's the play that determined it. When in reality, there's like 7 plays maybe, or 17, or 77. I don't know. How many plays are in a basketball game? Hundreds, right? Overall, though, for women's basketball, I think that what Coach Graves said about how they both need a quality win, this feels like playoff basketball to me for both the Oregon men and the Oregon women playing in the state of Washington this weekend. On that note, Chance Gray, you heard it alluded to. She hasn't been part of a losing streak like this. How does a young player handle that? Going to talk with her when we come back. Women's basketball with a big one tonight. Baseball opening day. Men's tennis rivalry. Men's basketball on the road on Sunday. And a whole lot more. A no-hitter. Maybe it'll be 2 today. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Oregon baseball opening day. It's a 3 o'clock first pitch against Xavier. You're going to hear from Mark Wasikowski coming up, and the Toyota Coaches Corner. I talked with Coach Waz this morning. He was headed to the treadmill when I talked to him. that's Coach Waz for you in a nutshell. Meanwhile, for Oregon women's basketball, Terry Johns has the call, 7 o'clock this evening in Pullman. Ducks are also in action on Sunday at 1 o'clock in Seattle. A reminder for those of you tuning in the Eugene area for Oregon women's basketball, with the baseball games and then men's basketball and women's basketball playing on the same day on Sunday, all the basketball games, men and women, are going to be on 95.3 The Score in Eugene, KUGN 590 AM, 98.1 FM, where the women's broadcasts usually are. Oregon baseball is going to be there all weekend long. We just figured that it made sense for all the basketball to live on one station instead of bouncing it around. So bear with us. Programming updates always at UO Sports Network on the Twitters. As long as that's still a thing, we're going to use it. Chance Gray, young player, potential future leader of this team. I think it's a fair chance. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. That was awful. Chance Gray meeting with the media heading into the matchup in Pullman tonight.
Given the results the last few weeks, could understand if there was some disappointment. You guys know your talent level, you know your potential. What's just the mood as you grind through these last few games?
Honestly, just trying to stay enthused, trying to stay as motivated as we can. Rallying around with each other because we're the only people that can make the change. So just staying at home, staying with our hearts, and knowing that we can turn it around. We just have to find those little pieces at the end of the games to make the changes.
I'm sure you're not used to going through losing streaks like this. What has this been like for you? I mean, you're obviously such an accomplished high school player and some really good teams, club teams. How difficult is it to come out with 5 straight losses like this?
I mean, nobody likes losing. I don't think anybody's really been in this position before, but I'm just kind of rolling with the punches. It's a lesson learned for me, just in ways I can turn it around in my next couple of years. Just obviously nobody wants to go through this, but it's probably a blessing in disguise just to learn how to win and try to turn around things in not a dark time, but a hard time.
I said something that's kind of interesting after I think it was the USC game on the radio, just about trying to, in your head, maybe not even intentionally, just questioning, are we going to win this game? Is it going to be like the previous losses? And kind of, how do you fight that sort of mindset while in the midst of competition of, gosh, we've been here, this means so much. We've also lost a lot of these games. How do you, that mental kind of obstacles of going through a game like that with where you guys are at?
At the end of the day, I still believe in our team every game. I know what we're capable of. I don't have any doubt in us going to each game. If anything, I have all the confidence because at the end of the day, we're going to have to win something. We're going to have to pull something out. So there's no really change. It's more trying to have a more positive mindset than questioning our last game because we have to move on. That's the thing about college. There's the next game after another. So
You guys probably didn't count on being at this point in the season and having the NCAA tournament be in question, but it seems like you're kind of on the bubble.
Yeah.
Is that something you're even thinking about, or are you so caught up in just the day-to-day grind of getting through this losing streak that?
Yeah, more so day-to-day. We have a big weekend coming up this weekend that can kind of determine a lot of things, so that's what we're focused on right now. And we had a loss here that kind of hurt us a little bit, so we're focused on trying to get that back and then continue trying to play our best basketball.
In preparation and kind of turn things around, what are some things that you and the team have done this week in practice to kind of prepare to make that shift?
I think just picking up each other. A lot of us are going through confidence things right now, so just trying to stay together and rally around each other, talking a little bit more, communicating, just all the little things. It's been the little things at the end of the games that has kind of cost us, so focusing and really dialing in on those.
And being a freshman and playing at the top level of college basketball, how has that opened your eyes to how important playing with confidence is and how hard it can be when you're playing at such a high level?
Confidence has a lot to do with it. If you're not obviously getting in the gym and things like that, that speaks a lot to it. But if you don't have the confidence and the admire to come out there and kind of play your type of game with your own style, then you really won't succeed.
What helps with your confidence?
Yeah, I would just say believing in myself, telling myself a shot is going to go in, telling myself I'm going to go get a steal, just kind of talking to myself and staying in my own head, not in a negative way, but a positive way.
Once you guys had family at the game in LA, how does that help? How do you lean on kind of people outside the program and not just people inside the program?
I had my dad there, so a lot of people know I'm very close with my dad, so having him there was great. My grandfather as well. I talked to him after the USC game. I struggled with that game, so just having him there talked me up, just kind of told me to move on to the next, be the best leader you can be the next day, and shift over to the UCLA game. So that's just how I'm able to lean on them instead of just my coaches as well.
What was the lasting memory from the the first time you guys played Washington State?
You said the lasting memory?
Just what stands out from that? Is it the fact that it was kind of almost feels like a turning door moment where
it was
at least hits that shot and it feels like and then goes in another direction.
It was definitely just like a hurt type of feeling when you feel like you kind of leave everything out there. That was a crazy game, so hopefully we can turn it around. It's a little bit of anger, a little bit of frustration, all kind of combined into one.
Chance Gray talking about our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule spotlight for Oregon basketball. Look, this is like postseason play. 7 o'clock tonight in Pullman. Pac-12 Oregon, and of course Terry Johns with the 6:30 pregame on the Oregon Sports Network. He'll have the call as well. And then the Ducks, 1 o'clock on Sunday, Ducks and Dogs. The Huskies got men's basketball. I'd really like the Oregon women to get some wins in the Evergreen State. I'd also like Oregon men's tennis to get a little revenge for Oregon men's basketball tonight. By the way, here from Coach Graves, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule spotlight, women's basketball. It's always brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Men's basketball. After the games last night, some things have shifted around a little bit. UCLA is 13-2, Arizona 12-4, USC 10-5, Utah 10-6, then ASU and Oregon are both 9-7. Oregon's got the tiebreaker against ASU, so the Ducks sit in 5th place. They've got to catch Utah and USC. The way to do that, beat Washington State on Sunday. I don't have a whole lot else to say. Just win. What was the phrase from women's basketball? Winners stay. Remember that? Winners stay in the conversation. That's what the Oregon men or the Oregon women are attempting to accomplish in the Evergreen State this weekend. When we come back, let's talk a little baseball. It's opening day at PK Park on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Oregon baseball! It's opening day. Xavier is in town, the Musketeers, a very veteran team, by the way, but all of their announced starters for the weekend, new. That's right. They're new. new to the roster, so not a lot of info on him, at least for the broadcaster. Now, for Mark Wasikowski's crew, probably a little bit different. But the Ducks taking on a good Xavier team, projected to maybe win their league. 3 o'clock first pitch at PK Park. Earlier this week, Mark Wasikowski, the Oregon baseball head coach, met with the media, brought to you by our friends at WVCI, exceptional cancer care close to home. Mark Wasikowski excited for opening day. They've got some depth on this team this year. Here's Coach Waz.
First game of the year is going to reveal a lot. What are some things you're most excited to kind of learn about your team as you take the field Friday?
I don't know that the first game's going to reveal a lot or not, to be honest with you. I think it's another opportunity for us to get together out there, and every day that we're out there reveals something. So it's just another day for us to get a chance to be together, which is awesome. It's a fun experience to be with these guys. They've been really fun.
Any idea what the rotation is going to look like this weekend?
Yeah, I think I think Coach Angier said we're going to go Mercado on game 1, and then the 3 freshmen after that. Leo Ullman, and then Matthew Grabman, and then Jackson Pace. You know, they've all really pitched well in the scrimmages that we've had, and we're excited to roll that out there.
Mercado's been a bulldog out of the bullpen. Does that same mentality translate well to being a Friday night guy, you think?
Well, time will tell. You never know until you actually put a guy in that spot and put him out there.
Have you been pleased with the competition and the scrimmages so far?
It's been unbelievable. Yeah, the competition's been great. Depending on the day, the pitchers have either gotten the better of the hitters or the hitters have gotten the better of the pitchers. These guys we're rolling out there with the 4 starters have been consistent and very good throughout, amongst others too, you know, and so we'll have some bullets in the back end of the bullpen as well, which is good. And I don't know, we're just antsy to see somebody else in a different uniform on our field.
What was it about Mercado that not only you guys pushed him to being a starter, but the Friday night guy?
He's just done well. You know, I don't think there's any other answer other than that. He was really good last year for us. Probably out of the group that's returning, without looking at a stat sheet, I think he probably was maybe the most reliable guy we had last year. You knew that he was going to go out there and be really good. I think he pitched really well last year. I think he was honored with something preseason. I don't look at too many of those honorees or rankings with what they get with preseason all conferences, but if I recall, he was awarded something by the coaches in the league. They think highly of him, and he's just earned it from his, you know, what he's doing out there.
Harold Reynolds coming to practice, pretty cool deal for the young players to hear from a big personality in the game of baseball. What was his message to the group, and what does that relationship mean to Oregon baseball?
Well, Harold's not afraid to talk. He's really good at it. That's what he gets paid to do right now for a living after an awesome pro career. And yeah, we were blessed to have him come out to our field and be a part of a lot of our week last week. He's just a really smart guy. He brings an element of just security because he knows baseball so well. He brings an element of just honesty and frankness. And he's been around so many greats that, you know, when he's talking about playing alongside of Cal Ripken, that's enough said. You know, if you can't gain something from a guy like that, you're probably in a bad place.
What's the area of greatest uncertainty for you during the season was?
Well, I mean, for me, obviously, I would say the biggest area of uncertainty would be, number one is Colby Shade okay from the offseason shoulder injury that he had, and so far so good. The answer is yes, but he's progressed incredibly well. The second one would be Drew Cowley, because he endured a pretty major injury last year in the middle of the year, and he was only leading the country in hitting when that happened, and so that's a big deal. Replacing a guy like Josh Kasovich at shortstop is a big question. Gavin Grant's played exceptionally well, as has the freshman behind him, Carter Garrotti, but that's a big deal. When you're losing a guy that was drafted highest in the country at the shortstop position, you know, that's pretty hard to replace. And then just pitching, you know, I thought last year, I thought we pitched well at times, and I didn't think we pitched at the level that we wanted to pitch at. And, you know, we've got some really talented young pitchers now in our program. Ideally, I'd love to be able to roll out 3 first-team All-Americans on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're not doing that right now, not yet. These kids are freshmen, and they need to earn those honors. But they've pitched incredibly well. And so the youth of the pitching, in addition to the other ones that I mentioned.
It's the wrap that he has to wear for hitting. Is that going to be like a season-long thing just because of the injury, or is that something?
He's already out of that and was just in that for precautionary right after the new year.
During scrimmages, you guys use Josh Malaris as like a pseudo closer. Do you anticipate using him in the same role this year?
Well, we didn't have him last year to use him, but yeah, I think you're spot on with that with Josh. I mean, he's shown that he can be a dominant closer. He's also shown that he can extend out, and so I think he's kind of a hybrid guy. We can use him. He's resilient. He can bounce back quickly. And so he could probably do multiple 1-inning type things on a weekend, or he could probably do 3-inning type close on a weekend. So he's flexible and willing to play any role, but we're looking at him at the back of the game.
What's your confidence level in your 3 freshman lefties in the bullpen right now? I've seen Grayson Gritzel's come out a lot of times. Just what have you seen from those guys?
Regardless of whether it's a freshman or an old guy or whatever, I mean, it's the game that shows up, and can they manage it and can they handle it? And you can't predict that, and so even the talented players we have in the field, when they're new, or they're freshmen, even junior college transfers, a game's different. A game's different than a scrimmage. A game's different than your practices. And so there's a lot of talent. I love the talent that we have. A lot of people have talked a lot about that, and it's clear they were right. It's a talented group, but now it's time to see how they can handle the game and how they handle somebody wearing a different uniform. Do they change and turn into somebody else? Hopefully not. Hopefully they've been trained well enough to not do that, but sometimes that happens.
Has there been a catcher that's emerged so far during the scrimmages in this winter baseball, spring baseball yet, between Thompson and Cromwick and Anson?
Cromwick's been the best guy. Anson is very, very talented. And he's day-to-day right now. He's fighting a couple of things. Thompson's been reliable and steady, as has Chase Meggers. The guy that probably last weekend, I don't know if he caught the best, but he was really impressive back there. He might have caught the best and was really impressive with Sabine Ceballos last weekend. I mean, he was incredible. He was probably our player of the weekend last weekend, and he's a catcher, and he plays a lot of places. So I'm confident in the depth that we have at that spot.
Do you anticipate Sabine playing catcher a lot this season? I know he's primarily played first and third so far during the spring.
Yeah, he can play catcher for sure. He was drafted by the Angels as a catcher, so that may be his strongest professional position, at least according to one team last year it was. So.
What's it like having Riku Nishida in this year as maybe a pure leadoff guy, someone who can get on base, steal bases?
I think the fans are really going to like Riku. I think they're going to really like Sabine. We've got an interesting locker room this year. It's coming from different parts of the world, and they play like it. And what I mean by that is they play with every place. As you watch the World Baseball Classic, there's just a different energy. There's a different energy that everybody, and that's the beauty of baseball, is you can learn so much from players from other parts of the world. Riku's game it's a trip, just the way he plays baseball. Slaps the ball all around the field, hard to defend, loves to steal bases, tremendous feel of the game. Ceballos, he really does play with a tremendous Latin flair. A lot of excitement. I can't jump as high as him on a home run. He wants me to jump and hit his hand, but it's hard to do because he's a big guy to begin with and he's athletic. But he brings an element of fun to the field, as does Riku, and keeps the locker room loose. And those guys have just been a joy to coach.
Because it's so early in the season, are you guys planning on setting a pitch limit or a pitch count on some of these guys going forward?
Oh, yeah, definitely. These guys are all still in their build-up phase. And so, in a lot of ways, the guys that start games and stuff like that, it's probably a little less important early in the year because the guys that you have on your pitching staff are all probably going to pitch. And, there are pitch limits going on right now early in the year. And so whether they're starting a game and they're throwing the first few innings, reaching that limit, or they're coming in first and they're reaching their limit there, doesn't really matter. You got to probably throw, if you're going to win, you're probably going to throw 120 to 140 pitches in that game. And so, you manage your guys the way you need to.
Or when you go about the strategy of a player like Riku, where you talk about prototypically that's either a 1 or a 9, but there's a very big difference of most plate appearances versus least. And with a young player and a guy who you haven't had in the lineup before, how do you go about the strategy and the decision making of what extreme you want to go to there?
It'll come down to what he earns. And so far what he's earned, I mean, he was unbelievable last weekend and has been really consistent. And what he's consistent at is playing real quality defense and just getting on base. He's a pest. Hard guy to strike out, extends pitch counts deep, not afraid to bunt for hits. He's the ultimate team player, and he's just, when Riku, whenever he's finished playing baseball, he will be an unbelievable coach. I mean, he doesn't speak English great, and still yet he's probably one of the best coaches we have, including the coaches on the coaching staff right now. He's just that type of infectious personality, and with that kind of knowledge, it's really something to be around that kid.
What's the excitement like this week in practice in the dugout, just leading up to the opening day?
Well, I'll tell you, today's our first practice of the week, so I'll tell you after today. I don't know, but I'm sure the guys are pretty excited. Yeah, they were at breakfast this morning.
Snow during opening week, build a little character for him.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's sunny and 75.
Yeah, earlier in the week, that was the case. I wanted to leave that in there because Waz did make a joke about it if you're going to join us on the pregame show, because the Ducks, it's actually beautiful out this afternoon. It truly is. It's like opening day weather. It's Chamber of Commerce weather. You look outside and it's sunny, it's 75, and it's beautiful. It's perfect for baseball. So there you go. Mark Wasikowski meeting with the media, previewing the week and now the weekend for Oregon baseball. When we come back, let's hear a little bit from Colby Shade talking about that international roster. The Ducks do have some international flavor on the roster. Story on that on GoDucks.com today. We're going to hear a little more about it from Colby Shade. It's baseball opening day on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I got to tell you, it's Oregon baseball season when the delivery comes on opening day of your new mechanical pencils and erasers and lead. God, it's going to be a good day at PK Park. Oregon baseball, I got the scorebook all set up this morning. Oh, nothing like it. Colby Shade, one of the best outfielders in the country defensively. He met with the media heading into today's 3 o'clock first pitch, baseball opening day at PK Park. By the way, if you're live with us, it's beautiful outside. Come have a beer at the ballpark, hang out. Great day to leave work early. You got a work meeting. It's at PK Park. Here's Colby Shade.
When you've been through an opening day a few times, do you still get the same butterflies? Does it feel different this time of year?
I think it's just a normal baseball game. You kind of just get used to it. Nothing really different.
How's the shoulder?
It's doing well. Yeah, pretty much 100%. Swung without my brace last week, so doing really well. You know, easy to recover when you have supportive teammates and coaching staff and everyone to go along with it every day.
What did you learn first year in the Pac-12, kind of playing every day last year? What do you take away from that?
No day's easy, no day off. Really competitive and got to bring your best every day.
Any kind of mental adjustment after a shoulder injury in terms of outfield, just fielding and defense, and do you feel like you're limited? Do you feel like even mentally you've limited yourself at all because you have to, or is just safe?
I'd say the first time you do things, it's kind of like a little scary doing it the first time, but after you like break that barrier, it's easy to do it after that. Nothing really different, just getting used to getting back in the routine of doing normal stuff.
As a guy who plays such a key role defensively and also, contributes at the plate, when you have a really young pitching staff, is that on your mind? Like, do you feel like you have to do a little extra, anything like that?
No, I feel like as an offense, we just got to be ourselves. I mean, we know we have the potential to be the best offense in the country or on the West Coast. So just picking those guys up whenever they need it and doing our best every single day and bringing our best every day.
What have you picked up from so many of those new arms who are going to play prominent roles this year?
I mean, they're really good. I think part of it's just believing that they're really good and executing their pitches and just coming out with a competitive mindset every day.
Well, I was talking a little bit about the international flavor of the locker room. You've got a few guys from different countries. What's your just impression on kind of what the environment that creates?
They're all just so fun to be around and kind of learn new things from them, even if it's like words here and there or phrases or different things they do about their culture. So it's really interesting and fun to be around.
He was talking about how, the game is sort of played differently in different parts too. Do you see that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at Riku and he's a little, 5'6", 5'7" kid that just plays with a lot of energy and super quick, and it's really interesting and fun to watch.
Last year, you guys are one of the best offenses in the pack. How do you compare last year to this year's offense, and if there's better?
I mean, we attack it with the same goal, just breaking all the records we set last year, this year, and we had a lot of talent leave last year, and we have a lot more coming back, and probably have more depth than we did last year. So it's not going to be easy, but it also should be able to be achieved, breaking those records.
I know this is a while ago, but we haven't talked to you since. What did it mean to you when you heard that Tanner was coming back?
I mean, he's probably been one of my closest friends and people that I look up to. So hearing that he was coming back was just a lot of excitement. And again, hanging around him for another year in his 30th season or whatever it is. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
His 30th season. That's Tanner Smith. I was thinking about this. Like, if I walked up to Tanner and I just said, "What's up, Schmitty?" That's just not going to feel right. I'm going to have to come up with some other nickname for him. He really is the elder statesman of Oregon baseball, and that's one of the things, of course, that's come from the COVID year. So I'm excited. If you can't tell, and Steve Tannen, our buddy from 95.3 The Score here in Eugene, he just texted me. He said, "A true baseball lover appreciates the brilliant simplicity of a scorebook and the tools to fill it out." Well, you know what else I got today? New highlighters. You need a highlighter. You just do. And, I might have gone overboard. If anybody in the athletic department needs a highlighter, I've got like 5,000. I don't know. Yeah, it's baseball season. Also, this is how you know that somebody like me has terrible handwriting. And Scott just said that it's like first day of school, you get the school supplies and stuff, and you get the list that you come home and you got to figure out, like what your school supplies are. So, does anyone use .3 weight lead? Big mechanical pencil guy right here, by the way. Not a Ticonderoga sharpener guy. .3 lead, like I just press the paper and it breaks. Like just the weight of my hand breaks it. .5, all my friends growing up that had like beautiful handwriting wrote with .5 lead. I was a .7 lead guy because it was easier to find, but really I'm a .9 lead guy. I've got that heavy. Honestly, I have terrible handwriting. Ask anybody who's ever seen my handwriting, and they immediately are like, "What does that say? I cannot read your handwriting." Yeah, I know. It's been that way forever. But you know what are the benefits of this happening to young Joey having terrible handwriting? He learned to type at a very young age. I still, to this day, cannot write in cursive. True story. True story. My signature has like half print in it. It's baseball season. When we come back, men's tennis against Washington, a big one. The Harley's going to be there. We're going to hear from Nils Schielander, the Oregon men's tennis head coach, your final weekend preview when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. The Ducks, for a lot of sports, getting things rolling as part of the spring season. Of course, Oregon men's basketball looking for a bounce back this weekend. We've been talking about it. And then it's week 2 for Oregon softball. They got a no-hitter earlier this morning. Game 2 in action if you're live with us this afternoon. And our buddies at KWVA, shout out to Ryan Milano, the sports director for KWVA and the voice of Oregon softball. He made the trip down to San Diego. He'll be back in the studio with us next week. Might have to get the recap from him in addition to Coach Lombardi. Oregon baseball opening weekend, Oregon tennis. It's week 2 for Oregon tennis, and actually week 3 depending on which tennis program you're talking about. And then it's also the second week in action for Oregon lacrosse. They're in action at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So a lot going on. The composite schedule on GoDucks.com is your friend. Not everybody is like me that has all of this color-coded into their calendar. Yes, I have a different color for every Oregon sport. Yes, most of them are shades of green and yellow. And oddly enough, I happen to know exactly which shade of green and yellow corresponds to which sport. Acrobatics and tumbling tonight in action at Azusa Pacific as well, 7 o'clock. But 5 o'clock today, Nils Schielander's men's tennis team previewing, or I should say taking on Washington, and Nils Schielander, the Oregon men's tennis head coach, earlier this week previewed the what he called Christmas Day against the Huskies at 5 o'clock today.
Obviously, the Huskies, always fun, always a lot of energy, always really competitive. Just how much do you look forward to a matchup like this?
It's like Christmas Day. I mean, this is, some people say every match is the same, but it's not, and you can tell it in the guys. They're really edgy, and short answer is looking forward to it a lot.
How much of that for them comes from you, and how much of that just stems naturally from a rivalry?
I think a lot of these guys are European. They grew up with rivalries, so they really feast on it and live for it.
Are there guys on the UW team that they know? I mean, that they know from?
Yeah, no, from the junior circuit across the world, and I'm sure there've been some healthy banter going on all week.
It's not just the green and the purple that get the blood flowing.
No, it's not.
Do you have to manage the emotions at all, or do you have a group that can feed on that in a positive way?
I think it's different from year to year. With this group, you can definitely feed off it. And there's other years you try to tone it down a little bit, but with this group, it's full go. It's been fun practices, let me tell you.
You've had some new faces at 5 and 6 that have been really productive for you. What have those guys meant to your lineup?
They just give us the depth. I mean, I don't feel like there's one single weak spot in our lineup right now. And it takes a lot of pressure off the top of the lineup too, to know that, most of the time you're going to create points down low in the lineup.
How do you feel about your doubles play so far?
One doubles obviously speaks for itself. Ray and Eva has been a very pleasant surprise at 2 doubles. They've been playing great, actually. Been a little bit spotty at 3. They've been practicing great this week, so told them, no pressure, but if we win at 3 doubles, I don't see them beating us in this duel.
Yeah, I mean, you've always placed so much pride in doubles play. Yeah. This, in terms of this team's mentality, how much have they embraced that? Has it been to the extent you want to see?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, and we practice a lot of it, and it's the highest energy part of practice when we do. The boys are really flying around in the doubles drills. And, it's 1 point, but it creates momentum for the whole duel match and sets the stage for the singles play. So it's huge.
You guys have done a lot of good things early in the season. Where's some areas you want to see better execution? Where room for improvement right now?
A little more consistency at 3 doubles. But just maintain the focus that the guys have had and not get caught in the lull of the season. Teams are made, you need to do what you're supposed to do early, but then the really good teams are able to maintain that because our season is long, and to show up with the same grit every time out. And so we're really on him on that. And
I love that from Nils Schielander, by the way, just the way that you can maintain over the course of a season, because they do participate in different individual events, and we keep track of that in the fall. And then the team season is on you real quick in January, goes all the way into the spring. They're one of the last sports playing in the spring, men's and women's tennis. Nils Schielander's Ducks in action. The Harley will be at the Student Tennis Center tonight. If you're going to head over toward campus, 5 o'clock, if you hear that rev of the Harley, that's why. At the Student Tennis Center, 5 o'clock tonight. I'm headed to PK Park, a 3 o'clock first pitch, 2:45 pregame show if you're live with us today in the 1 o'clock hour. Ducks and Xavier. Logan Mercado gets the ball. It's opening day at PK Park. Good luck to Oregon basketball this weekend. I'll be traveling up to Pullman tomorrow. A lot of broadcasts. Go Ducks.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy. Me too.